Yeah, soldier on. Here we go for Bob Lee. Boom.
We going coast to coast. We going coast to coast.
Word starting to filter out ahead of free agency. The likely landing spots for Kawhi and Kemba. In Omaha, Vandy leans on a freshman to save its season. Rock on. And Julian Edelman talks about his crazy year, which started with a suspension and ended with a Super Bowl MVP.
Sports Center, coast to coast. It's where you come when you want the most. Every city, every state and time. Get ready, we about to break it down.
Now we got a special team here. I'm just, happy to be back.
This just in to SportsCenter. Kevin Durant has declined his $31.5 million player option with the Warriors and will become an unrestricted free agent. League sources telling ESPN's Adrian Wojnarowski that Durant and business manager Rich Kleiman are in New York evaluating free agency options as we speak. Carrie.
Oh, no, thank you for that, David. No surprise there. Stephen A. Smith now joining us on Coast to Coast to help us break it all down. It is official. Kevin Durant will be a free agent come Sunday. So where do you think he ends up signing?
Well, listen, my hope and prayer was that he'd end up in New York. So this figurative curse that's been hovering over this franchise for the last 20 years would come to an end. But it doesn't appear to be that way. We don't really know what Kevin Durant's going to do. You hear Brooklyn 1 minute. You hear the New York Knicks the next. You hear the fact that he could re-up for 5 years at the Supermax $221 million deal for the Golden State Warriors, thereby sitting out next season, rehabbing himself and then ultimately being in a position where the Golden State Warriors can get equitable compensation for him in the event that he elects to do that. I don't think that's going to happen. I think this is a man that's hell-bent on having his freedom. I think that he'll probably end up in New York. I'm hopeful it's the New York Knicks. It seems like it's going to be the Brooklyn Nets instead. I sincerely don't know, and it has me on the verge of depression, to be quite honest with you, because of my New York Knicks. But
listen. I understand, but your take, and from what you're hearing, it'll be the Knicks, but more than likely you're hearing it could be the Brooklyn Nets.
It could be the Nets. It's going to be the Knicks or the Nets, it seems.
All right, so let's move on and see what you think about this one. The Kawhi sweepstakes still wide open. I don't know how wide open. That's my personal take. But Masai Ujiri saying he's staying with the Raptors, and that might actually change the situation. Either way, Toronto or the Clippers, or perhaps the Lakers, my hope. Which team do you think, though, Stephen A., is the best fit for Kawhi?
Well, to me, it would be the Clippers. I mean, I appreciate what we saw from the Toronto Raptors. One could make the argument they're going to be even better now that they're champions and they know how to win. It's going to be tough for any team in the Eastern Conference to deny them the opportunity. The road to prosperity is obviously easier through the Eastern Conference. We can't ignore that. But the flip side to it is that you got the richest owner in all of sports in Steve Ballmer. His right-hand man is the great Jerry West, arguably the greatest executive this sport has ever seen. We've got a champion and a future Hall of Fame and Coach Doc Rivers. And we've got a first-class organization in the Los Angeles Clippers who preside in Kawhi Leonard's hometown, where he purportedly has been starving to return to, where his inner circle, family, friends, loved ones, etc., are all out there. And so when you take that into consideration, aligned with the fact that LeBron and Anthony Davis are playing in the same city and in the same building, the eye of the basketball world would be on Los Angeles if Kawhi were to indeed go to the Los Angeles Clippers. But you can't underestimate Masai, who's proven to be an elite executive, what he's been able to do in Toronto, and the fact that if Kawhi stayed, he'd have a whole country at his disposal. My argument, however, is that simple. What more can you do for Toronto? You want a championship there. In your only year there, you're going to be deified into basketball perpetuity because of what you did for that franchise, that city of Toronto, and that country that is Canada. There's really nowhere to go but down if you're Kawhi. Whereas with Los Angeles, it's your hometown, and it's with the Clippers, and the sky appears to be the limit. To me, it would be the Clippers.
I have to ask you this. I hear you explain this, and you're breaking it down so well, and this is a bit of an audible because I'm thinking of all the different storylines and perhaps what will happen. When you think about this upcoming free agency, have you ever been more excited or undecided about what's happening?
Yes, I have been more excited because I would not feel that way if Kevin Durant had not gotten hurt. If Kevin Durant had not gotten hurt, I would be thinking Kevin Durant's on his way to Madison Square Garden, and I'd be incredibly excited. Unfortunately, he goes down, and by going down and having to rehab, and then you hear, because I heard from sources as I reported on First Take this morning, that you have owner James Dolan of the New York Knicks, really getting on his guys to make sure they get their hands on that medical report and they dot all of their I's and they cross all of their T's before offering Kevin Durant a max deal for 4 years. So when that reality comes into the fray, you have a situation where the New York Knicks are obviously doing their due diligence. It's perfectly within their right to do so. It's smart business, but you never know how Kevin Durant might absorb such things. He might be offended at the fact that a moribund franchise that has perpetually been the case with the New York Knicks have the audacity, the unmitigated gall to sit up there and talk about dotting I's and crossing T's for a change when you have an opportunity to get one of the top 2 players on the planet, albeit coming off an Achilles tear, who, by the way, is 6'11" with a 7'6" wingspan and can drop threes like it's going out of style. Who the hell are the New York Knicks to question anything about him? He could be thinking that way. I don't know. I haven't spoken to Kevin Durant, but it is possible that he's sitting there saying anybody else could be a bit cautious, but you, the New York Knicks, the nerve. Let's hope he's not thinking that way, but we never know.
Okay, I asked a question, and I deserve that response because I think you may be a little salty about what's going on with the Knicks. I appreciate you, though. Stephen A. Smith joining us here.
I'm sure you do, Laker lover.
I love the Lakers,
Sure
coast to coast.
Yes,
so, folks, here we go with our 3 Ks. It's Kawhi, it's Kevin, it's Kyrie. What is happening? We'll talk about Kemba. What would it take for the Celtics to bring Kemba Walker into Boston? Our front office insider follows a little later.